This morning, I was in a conversation with a friend, and I began to describe something that I've come to understand about the feminine. Not feminism, not gender politics, but the actual energetic process of the feminine itself, something I've studied in coursework on polarity. And when I finished, she just said, "Wow." Like she was seeing something for the first time that had always been true, but had never been named clearly enough to see. I felt the same way the first time I saw it, and I want to share it with you today because I think it will land the same way, or at least I hope it will. Hi, I'm Renee. This is Renee Genet. I am a mystic, writer, guide, and mentor living in the southeast of France. I declared powerful as my word for this year, 2026. And in doing so, I set an intention of living in my power in all areas of my life throughout this year. And this video is a part of that video series where I'm talking about the things that are coming up for me in my life each week as I work through living in my own personal power. I hope you will, if you like this video, that you will like and subscribe and follow along. And I'd love to hear if you decide to work on your own personal power this year. I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And all right, let's talk about the feminine. Let's talk about the feminine process. The feminine moves in a natural sequenced flow, a flow that, when uninterrupted, is one of the most sophisticated, powerful forms of intelligence available to us. It begins with being. That's it. Just being. Simply being present. Resting in existence without producing, without achieving, without justifying through output, just simply being. From that place of being comes receiving, the capacity to take things in: information, energy, love, knowing, without immediately deflecting or trying to manage it. Receptivity requires stillness, and it requires safety. From receiving comes feeling, the body's intelligence activating, the emotional navigation system coming online, if you will. Feelings as information, not problems to be solved, but messages being delivered. From feeling comes our intuition, the deep knowing that arises when the body has been allowed to feel. Intuition is not random or mystical. It is the distillation of everything the body has received and felt, arriving as a clear signal. This is the feminine at her most powerful. And from intuition comes doing, action that is sourced from deep knowing rather than driven by external pressure or fear. Doing that is aligned, purposeful, and alive. Being, receiving, feeling, intuition, and then doing. That is the complete feminine cycle. And when it flows uninterrupted, it is extraordinarily powerful. I'll tell you more. Okay, let's talk about the two interruptions. Here's what happens to most of us. At two specific points in that flow of the feminine, we have received messages that interrupted it so completely that many of us have been living disconnected from our very own feminine intelligence ever since. The first interruption being. From the time that we were very young, we received a clear message about simply being. Being has no value. Production has value. Busyness has value. If you're not doing something, you are wasting your time. Rest is laziness. Stillness is indulgence. Your worth is measured by your output. And we abandoned being. We went straight to doing. We bypassed the entire feminine cycle, receiving, feeling, intuition, and jumped directly to action. Not action sourced from deep knowing, but action driven by the pressure to reproduce, the pressure felt externally. We became very efficient and very disconnected. The second interruption point, feeling. Even for those who manage to slow down enough to receive, the second interruption was waiting for us. We were taught that feelings are problematic, too much, too inconvenient, in need of explanation, justification, and fixing. You have nothing to cry about. Don't be so sensitive. Pull yourself together. And so we learned to manage our feelings rather than just receive them, to interrupt them before they could complete their journey, before they could become the intuition they were carrying. This means the intuition never arrived, and the doing that followed was disconnected from its source. What did we lose in this? When being has no value and feelings are problematic, the entire feminine cycle collapses. You cannot receive if you cannot be still. You cannot feel if you've been taught your feelings are wrong. You cannot access your intuition if your feelings have been silenced. And your doing, however competent, however efficient, however impressive, is sourced from the mind's agenda rather than the heart's knowing. This is not a small loss. This is a disconnection from the primary intelligence of the feminine. And most of us have been living with that disconnection for so long that we don't even know it's there. We just know that something feels missing, that life feels efficient but not alive, that we are doing everything right, and yet something essential is still absent. What's absent is the flow, the full feminine cycle, running uninterrupted from being all the way through to doing, from being, receiving, feeling, the intuition, and then the doing. Reclaiming the feminine doesn't mean abandoning our capability or our achievement or our strength. It means restoring the source from which those things flow. It means giving yourself permission to simply be without justification, without productivity, without earning your rest. It means allowing your feelings to move through rather than managing them out of existence. It means trusting the intuition that arises when you've been still enough to receive and present enough to feel. And it means acting from that deep feminine knowing rather than from the pressure to produce. That is the feminine restored, not soft, not passive, not less than, but complete. Okay, I want to close with some questions for you to take to your favorite journal, your morning shower, perhaps your morning commute, wherever you do your best pondering. Where in the feminine cycle do you most often get interrupted? At being, at feeling, or somewhere else even? What would it mean to give yourself permission to simply be today without producing, without justifying, without earning your stillness, just taking 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes to just sit and be? It's a challenging process when you begin it, but it's very powerful. What feeling have you been managing or suppressing that might carry an intuition you haven't yet been able to hear? Okay, I'll leave it there today. I truly hope this video finds you well and living in your own power all throughout this year. And I hope you join along. And until then, I will say, a biento.